Let's see, tonight we're just going to have the candidates come up. I think just about everyone is here. We might be missing one candidate, but everyone will come up, get maximum 3 minutes to tell a little bit about themselves and why they're eager to join our board. So we're going to go in order of the way that your names appeared on the Empower LA website. Yeah, Steve.
If they don't live in the neighborhood, they work in the neighborhood.
I'm sorry?
If you
Live, work.
well, yeah, but you have to prove that you work.
Yes, you have to prove. It's document required, yes. And it's on, this I'm holding up as a prototype. Everybody's going to get one of these. It's a sample ballot. It's not ready for prime time yet, but it will be soon. And it will go out to all the residents in Valley Village, so well over 12,000 something. So everybody will get it. All the statements on here are statements that the candidates had listed on the website when they were certified. So nothing has been changed. So I'm going to start with the homeowners that are running for the 2 slots. We have 2 slots for homeowners, and we have 5 candidates and 3 minutes, and we're going to start with Judith Bickle.
Hi everyone, thanks for coming out tonight. My name is Judith Bickle, and I am, as she said, running for one of the open homeowner representative seats. Little background on me: my husband and I moved to LA from New York in 1997. After renting for a short while, we bought our first home in Valley Village in 1999. We chose Valley Village, as I'm sure many of you did, for its small town community feel and its proximity to everything and for the wonderful people in the neighborhood. We moved away for a few years, and then we returned in 2008 and bought what we hope is our forever home. And we couldn't be happier. So we have the most awesome neighbors, some who are here, and our sons have made lifelong friends in the neighborhood and while attending Colfax, Wall Street, and North Hollywood High School. Okay, so a little bit more about me. I've been blessed for the past 20 years to be able to stay home and raise my sons and volunteer and work part-time in the nonprofit sector. I've decided since my kids are at college, I'm also going back to college, so I will be getting my, hopefully, accounting degree by this time next year, and hopefully will be a CPA by next year. Sorry. Is that my 3 minutes? That was Amber Alert. Oh, Amber Alert, okay. I was like, that was I timed myself, so, okay. So why am I here tonight? I decided to throw my hat in the ring for a seat because I love Valley Village, and as most of you might agree, things are changing in the neighborhood and not necessarily all for the better. And it's not my nature to sit idly by, so I believe one of the best ways to affect change is through our local government. As an example, one of my neighbors came to me a little while back and said, hey, the speed bump applications are open. Do you want to try to get speed bumps on our block? And a lot of people discourage us that it's not going to happen. Well, we banded together, worked with our neighbors, and had a really wonderful experience with the Department of Transportation and got speed bumps. And it made me say, wow, that's really powerful. It was a good experience, and we affected change, and I was proud of that. Okay, so I like to think of myself as someone who is open, fair-minded, compassionate, and even-tempered, and I think these are all qualities that are important when working on the council and in committees such as the Communications Committee or the City Services Committee, both which I would hope to help out whether I win or lose. I hope I'm given the opportunity to work for the next 4 years with the other council members and our elected city officials to maintain and improve the quality of life within this great community. A vote for me, Judith Bickle, is a vote for Valley Village. Thank you so much.
Okay, next up is Eric Andrus.
I'm not a public speaker, so please bear with me. My name is Eric Andrus. I'm a homeowner here in Valley Village. You may have driven by our house and seen our Halloween Christmas displays on the corner of Morrison and Bellingham every year. This past December, we threw the Valley Village Holiday Block Party in front of our house and had a street full of snow for the kids to play in. We also have started the Valley Villagers Choir, made up of neighbors from the area, so if you can sing harmony parts, we'd love to have you come join us. I worked in the entertainment industry for about 20 years before I gave it up to care for my elderly mother and my disabled sister, who unfortunately both passed away from preventable medical errors at Providence St. Joseph Medical Center. That's when my journey started as a volunteer patient safety advocate. I now am the co-executive director of a nonprofit called the Patient Safety League, where we're monitoring doctors that have harmed and killed patients, and we're also monitoring the Medical Board of California for illegal activities and not really doing their job properly. As part of my volunteer work, I attend every general meeting of the Medical Board and hold them accountable. In January, we brought the son of TV's Judge Hatchett to a meeting where he confronted the board over the death of his wife at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, where she was allowed to bleed to death after a C-section. You can read more about this story on our website at forpatientsafety.org and how that doctor went on to harm 5 other women. When we first moved to Valley Village, our streets were in terrible disrepair, full of potholes and tree roots tearing up where people needed to walk. And we don't have sidewalks in a lot of Valley Village. I called the city to see about getting them repaired and was told it would take at least 8 years before they'd get to it, and probably longer than that. I was shocked. Fearing that my disabled sister might fall and hurt herself in one of the potholes, I filed an Americans with Disabilities Act complaint against the city. And within a few months, all of the streets in our little section of Valley Village had been repaved. In our 17 years of living in Valley Village, I've sent a number of emails to this council and have never received any help from them. Most of the time, there's no response to my emails. That's why I decided to start coming to the meetings and run for a position on the council. It appears that the council does do some really good things, but I hear too many Valley Villagers who think the council is useless because they too have tried to get help and received none. In the few meetings I've attended of late, I've been concerned with the way the meetings are run and how the citizens in the audience are often overlooked. At the last meeting, I had my hand up for a long time and no one called on me to speak. They just kept moving on through the business as if no one was sitting out in the audience. This needs to be a council that the citizens of Valley Village and the council that actually goes out of their way to make sure that every single person that contacts them is heard and makes them feel they've been heard. I think every person who serves should be readily accessible through email and other social media. I've just begun looking into how things work here, but I think we should all be concerned about how the $42,000 from the council gets from the city is utilized. One last thing. I thank those that have served for many years, but I think we need some blood to spark and enthusiasm to make Valley Village the best it can be. Thank you.
Okay, and next is Ellis Hart.
First of all, I want to thank my board. I've been on the board for 4 years, April 2015. I want to thank you. This is officially my last meeting, so thank you very much. It was a lot of teamwork, very enlightening, and a very positive experience. I'm asking for your vote May 16th for another 4 years of community service. I want to give back to Valley Village because Valley Village has given me so much my entire life. My grandfather, Hart, lived on Morrison, and my mother's grandparents, who immigrated originally from Italy and France and landed in Kansas, they were wheat farmers. They came here in 1908 and homesteaded 14 acres. They paid $2,000 in the city of Lancashire on Magnolia Boulevard, which was called 4th Street. And I live on the last half acre. They lost 13 and a half acres during the Depression. So I'm 4th generation, and the dirt is 111 years old. I participate on this board and stay up to date on city issues. I have attended all board meetings and helped all sponsored events: Earth Day shredding, 4th of July pancake breakfast, National Night Out, Halloween happenings, and Light Up Valley Village. I've attended all local town hall meetings on the homeless issue, public safety, crime issues, and the metro transportation improvement issues supporting Major M, the opening of the metro line, the new bus light rail upgrades. And I have to say, Paulette, Jenny, Suzanne Lewis and myself we always show up. It's the four of us that always show up. I've attended all four of the neighborhood congress in September, which is continuing education for all of us on the board. I communicate and I listen to my neighbors and my renters and the homeowners regarding their quality of life issues. I'm a conduit or a small connection between you, your issues, and to the LA City departments. I graduated from Colfax Elementary, Walter Reed Junior High, North Hollywood High. I am a food stylist for TV commercials and print advertising. I've been in business over 40 years. I'm a national and international horticultural rose judge, and I am a mentor for junior and senior high students in encouraging their participation in careers for hospitality and food service. Thank you very much.
And our next candidate is Tony Braswell.
I would also like to start by thanking my colleagues on the board for all of their hard work and dedication and the untold number of hours that you put into this board and this community. I appreciate it. And I also want to thank you all out here in the audience. We can't do this without our stakeholders. And I will tell you, this is the #1 neighborhood council in all of Valley Village by far. We hear it from our colleagues in other neighborhood councils, but I'll give you some numbers that help you understand. Right now, we're trying very hard to stop them from removing our specific plan. And to do that, we have to get involved with the community plan process. There were 4 meetings that were held, regional meetings. Everybody got to have a meeting. Valley Village had over 200 people show up for the meeting. Nobody else had over 30. Studio City, Sherman Oaks, Glen Block helped put together a survey that tied into the city survey and gave us 250 additional responses to the city survey. So they know who we are. Streets, want to talk about streets? 5 years ago, we weren't on the list because they kept thinking we were North Hollywood. We had to get out there and say, we are Valley Village. And then we started keeping track of which streets were paved. Since then, 80% of the streets have been resurfaced. And we're on a cycle. We track them through our city services committee. So we know if the city's doing their job, and we can pick up the phone and call and say, hey, we got a street here, it's been 4 years, we need to get it paved. These meetings, we try to be communicative. We try to let you know what the city wants and what you can do to help influence city decisions. We have outreach events, National Night Out, 250 to 300 people. And that little park that we protect over there, Valley Village Park, keeping the tunnels shut, making sure that it's clean, redoing the entire park. We did that 4 years ago. So this council works really hard, and I am very proud to be a part of it. And I want your support to stay on this board. I'll leave you with one thought. This is something I learned when I was first elected to the board in 2003. We are given this community as a gift from our elders, the people who lived here before us. Our responsibility is to protect it and hand it off to the next generation. That's the only thing that keeps me coming to these meetings. It's what makes me proud to be a part of this community, and it's why I want your vote to serve for 4 more years. Thank you.
And rounding up our homeowner candidates is Dana Tony Walker. Tony.
My apologies, a little cold, laryngitis, so I'm going to try my best. My name is Tony Walker, I'm running for the homeowner position, and I'm going to need a microphone. I'll just use my voice. For the homeowner position, for the board. And so you wonder why on the ballot it's Dana A. Walker, and my name is Tony. I was named after my father, Dana, and my middle name was Anthony. So all through my life, I've been known as Tony. I've lived in Valley Village now for 68 years, except for the 9 years my wife and I found affordable housing when we first were married in Van Nuys. And it's been a community that is something that I've really cherished. My wife, Jane, and I raised our 4 sons here. And not only our 4 sons, I went to Colfax, I went to Walter Reed, I went to North Hollywood and on the CSUN, where I got my master's and my bachelor's degree. But now we also have our granddaughter there. And then we'll be expecting another one soon after in the next year or 2. My schooling continued and advanced my career by going on to new things as I was developing myself as a professional and working with my family, trying to make a livelihood for them. I started out in police agencies working with delinquent offenders, both Glendale City as well as the city of Bell Gardens, which many of you will not know. I then went on to become an executive director of several nonprofit agencies. All my work required significant interactions with different people within departments as well as policymakers in the city of Los Angeles. And this has allowed me to develop long-standing relationships that I can cultivate even today. During my 42-year career, I opened 20 mental health agencies throughout the County of Los Angeles, a major health facility at UCLA Medical Center, and 7 Head Start agencies in the community of Rampart, and lastly, 2 permanent affordable housing facilities. I really would love to have the skills I've acquired and the relationships, be able to now in retirement, bring back to my own community. Over 68 years, I've seen Valley Village change. Much of it has not been for the better. My desire in becoming a board member is to work diligently to stop the 10 encampments that we see popping up every single day, and not just by calling the senior lead officer of the Los Angeles Police Department to get them to remove them, but finding more permanent solutions. And that can be done because I've built affordable housing and I know the difference it can make. And it is a matter of also reaching out to the resources we have. LA Family Housing, which many of you know, it is someone that will send outreach workers out and help in a way of finding resources for these homeless. I will end by just saying thank you, and I hope you consider me for this position.
Okay, and now we will go to our renter category. We have 3 candidates and stakeholders will be voting for 2. First up is Erin Stover.
Good evening. I really didn't come prepared tonight with a speech. I've been finishing my degree to get a master's, so Judith, you can absolutely do it. I graduate in a week. Super excited. Thank you. And it's in communications, so obviously relating to working on the board with all of you. Real quick, I promise. 1 second. So I have been a resident of Valley Village for 7 years. My husband and I moved here in 2012, shortly after we got married, but we resided in Koreatown for about 6 years prior to coming out here. We're familiar with the area because, and I know it's technically North Hollywood, but Magnolia Park, we used to play co-ed softball constantly, and I fell in love with the area, and as soon as I found an opening for an apartment, I jumped on it because I really thought this was a great community. It's close to everything. It's got that small town feel, which we both grew up with in upstate New York, so it was perfect. We've been very happy without, the homeless encampments, obviously. There's been vandalism. The new trash laws have kind of messed things up, especially for renters. And I would like to be able to work with the board to rectify or at least try to mediate the situation. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I covered everything. I apologize, I didn't really have anything prepared. Like I said, I've been trying to finish up school, but I would really be willing to work with the board. And like the homeowners also have said, you kind of have to be a little angry with the situation to get involved, and that's kind of been the jump start for this. And I'm hoping my transferable skills with conflict resolution and studying crisis management can get me a step ahead and work across the aisle with the board, with the city, with the mayor's office. So thank you.
Our next candidate is Ellen Scott. Is Ellen here? I wasn't sure. Okay, if she comes in later and I recognize her, I'll give her a chance to say hello. Desmond Fasson.
I'm also going to make an attempt to just speak hands-free if everybody can hear me okay.
It's a little soft back here.
It's a little soft back there. It's much.
I'd like to hear it.
I'd like to hear
That's
good evening.
better.
Evening, everybody. My name is Desmond Faison. I'm obviously running as a candidate in the renters category. And I want to start off by thanking the board for having this opportunity for us all to speak to the neighborhood members and stakeholders, as it were. I'm originally from Portland, Oregon, by way of Montana State. I found my way to Valley Village, California, a little over 15 years ago. And I've actually been fortunate to live in the same apartment for those entire 15 years due to the great confluence of quality of life, neighborhood life, and affordability due to Valley Village's neighborhood rent control ordinances, which have really helped me as a struggling artist. Is that right? That's where we all moved to LA. Prior to 2008, I had no interest in politics. I thought I had no place in politics, and I paid no attention until obviously President Obama changed that quite a bit. Regardless of how you feel about him, he changed that quite a bit and got my attention on that. And watching him and the great statesman Senator John McCain go back and forth and talk about the things that face America today, I became completely enthralled. And over the past 10 years, I threw myself into politics in a way that I never imagined I ever would. If CNN charged by the hour, I'd be in a lot of trouble. But what I realized here in the past couple of years is that things are going off track a little bit as far as I'm concerned. As a result, I rant and rave constantly to everybody who listened to me about all the problems of the world and South Korea, North Korea, and this, that, and the third. And the other day, my best friend said, well, the best way for you to do something is in your local government. When I realized I don't know much of anything about local government, I happened to stumble across an opportunity here in the neighborhood council. Subsequently, I signed up as a stakeholder or a candidate, and it puts me in front of you to hear tonight. What I do know about myself, even with my lack of understanding of how the council works, quite honestly, is that from being from Portland, Oregon, clearly as a black male, I graduated from Montana State, I have a wide array of background and experience with a cross-section of people from all walks of life. From renters to homeowners, I feel very confident that I can address the values and needs of people across all walks of life. And with that, I think there's a great opportunity here in the neighborhood council for Valley Village, that's already an ideal place to live, to become a pilot program for the city, to become an example, like Tony spoke of, for the whole rest of the neighborhood councils around Los Angeles. Let's make effective change. And I'm sorry, I forgot Gentleman's name, but there's an opportunity here to, instead of saying let's get rid of or call the police on the homeless crisis, let's talk to them. Let's be creative and find ways to create or solve problems. All that, I obviously rambled over a little bit, but thank you all very much for your time. I appreciate
it. Okay, we're now on to the business representatives, and there are two candidates for your consideration, and you vote for one when it comes on May 16th. So first of all, Christine Drapkin, is Christine here? I didn't see her. Okay, so if she comes later, we will give her an opportunity. Maribel Garcia.
Hi, good evening. Thank you all for coming. My name is Maribel Garcia, and I don't think I see any faces from the time I was in school with my daughters, but my husband and I moved about 15 years ago with my 2-year-old and one on the way. And we actually moved here because we were looking for a community that was very family-oriented and with great schools. So we did our research and we landed here. We gave up a much bigger house for less money in Valley Glen, but we chose Valley Village, and we've been in love with Valley Village since. I am a business owner. I have a home-based business now. I used to have a company, which I gave up because I wanted to be more with my daughters at home, and I didn't want to be part of a corporation where it really needed me 24/7. We went to Colfax Elementary. My 2 daughters were there. While I was there, I was PTA president, and I also was a chairman of many committees for the whole 8 entire years I was there. I was really an involved parent. As I moved to Walter Reed Middle School, I was the president there of Walter Reed's Friends of Reed nonprofit. Also, I was PTA president for a couple of years and also chair of many committees. Now I'm at North Hollywood High, where I am the president of the Highly Gifted Magnet for the rest of this year, and then we'll hand it over to next year. And my oldest is about to graduate, and my youngest just entered high school, so I have a little more time. And I thought now would be the time for me to give back to my community, who have been an amazing support for us in a way. And I really love education. I believe in public education. My husband and I graduated from public education. And I currently also represent the Commission of LAUSD of the Human Relations, Diversity, and Equity. And I report back to our Representative Michelson. So I am still involved in education, and I want to continue that. But Valley Village is an amazing community, and I want to make sure that our schools continue to be the wonderful schools that they are. And so I want to bring in the education, actually, aspect of it to our council. And we'd love to have you vote for me. Thank you.
The next category is the faith-based category, and you are looking at the candidate who's in that category, Ginny Hatfield. I'm a 30-plus year resident of Valley Village with my husband Paul. We're very active in the community, have been. My career basically was in public service, so I was used to sitting at a desk and hearing from the public on a regular basis with all sorts of concerns. I worked in the federal sector, and I worked in the state sector, and somewhat in city council too. So, you know, running for the board and being on this board was sort of a continuation of what I did. I consider myself a professional volunteer, because in addition to Neighborhood Council Valley Village, I'm also very active in a couple of other organizations. And, you know, I try to tie things that I do together so that they make sense, and that we all have some common goals in these various groups, and I try to work towards accomplishing the goals in the various areas that really are important to me, women's issues being one. You know, it's the whole purpose of neighborhood councils. They were designed for community engagement. They grew out of the separation movement in the late 90s, where the valley wanted to separate from the rest of the city. People felt that they weren't getting a say in City Hall. So, you know, they created the councils, and we have grown. Our council is now, 16 years old. We were certified in 2003, and we held our first meeting in October of 2003, and I was on that initial board. I've served since 2003. I'd ask you to continue to let me serve, and hopefully I will. And you know, it's all about getting you out there more interested in what's happening in your community. We can do so much, and we really try. We have any number of events that we sponsor on a regular basis to get you and try to inform you about different things, disaster assistance, crime. We always do our National Night Out in August. The 4th of July Parade, which is the homeowners' premier event. We sponsor a little pancake breakfast here at the church. They help with us in co-sponsoring, so people can have their breakfast and then they can go across the street and get into the parade. I'm a member of this church, have been for about 6 years. I work very closely. I serve on various committees, And I came to this church because I really like the pastor. They closed my church years ago, and I went around looking for churches, and this pastor spoke to me. And basically, one of the things we both agreed on when we talked is making this campus, which is right in Valley Village and owns a square block of real estate, more of a community resource. And that has really happened over the years. We rent out to about every 12-step group you can think of in one of the buildings over there. They meet 24/7, I can assure you. We have, sorry, I get on a soapbox, so I will stop and let me see. The next category is community-based, and we have Mark Warshing.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm running for re-election to the community-based seat on the neighborhood council. We're to continue efforts to improve the quality of planning and development in Valley Village. I'm an urban planner of the city of Los Angeles. My involvement in Valley Village began many years ago, 27 years ago, in fact, when I became a consultant to the board of directors for the Homeowners Association, advising them on planning matters. That lasted for about 20 years until I joined the board of the Homeowners Association as a full-fledged member, and I've continued to remain on the board to the present day. Then my involvement with the neighborhood council began back in 2001 when I was invited to join the planning committee of the neighborhood council. I'm still on that committee. And then became a member of the board of directors of the neighborhood council 11 years ago in 2008. And then joined the vision committee of the neighborhood council in 2012, became its chair in 2016, and was asked to serve with Glenn Block on a special committee set up to monitor the restudy of our North Hollywood Valley Village community plan. So that's a vital committee to keep abreast what the planning department is doing and then make our own recommendations to the planning department. And I've done a number of planning related projects over the years. Back between 1998 and 2000, I worked with our terrific former president of the board of the Homeowners Association, Lori Dinkin, who's celebrating her 100th birthday this year. Very impressive. And so Lori and I are a terrific team. Working with our local state assemblyman and state senator, we were able to get the billboards removed from the Chandler Boulevard median in the year 2000. My next project was working with Dan Kaplan to curb the mansionization of Valley Village. We did some studies and a land use survey of that back in 2008. And then on the neighborhood council's planning committee, we worked on some proposed amendments to our specific plan, but those so far haven't gone anywhere because it does need the support from the council office and also planning department management to advance it, but we tried. And finally, between 2013 and 2014, I worked with the former chair of the Vision Committee, Sandy Hubbard, who's on our Homeowners Association board now, to prepare an architectural design manual with the design guidelines to encourage improvement in the quality of architecture of new building projects in Valley Village. Yeah, in fact, I am done.
Thank you. And the last category is our at-large representative, and we have two on our board. And this particular at-large seat comes up this cycle, and then the next election cycle we would have the other one. So that is Daryl Baskin.
This is easy. No one's running against me. Thank you very much. I've lived in Valley Village for 29 years. I try to volunteer for everything that's offered, and I've been very fortunate to be on the board for 5 years now. This is our 5th year. And it's fun. So thank you for coming today because it really, really helps talking to people. And when we have our monthly meetings, the more people out here, the better the meetings go. So it really, really helps. Volunteering is great. The board is wonderful. We volunteer, we get along. But when volunteers or just stakeholders come in and join us, really, really makes for a nice community. I love meeting with people. And it helps having these drinks today. So sometimes I'm just picking up light bulbs and people call me by my name. I'm like, did you go to school together? So the person knows who I am. It freaks me out. But I lived here a long time. I love this neighborhood. I like serving. I can't believe no one's running against me. So, thank you very much.